Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 2014 career mode here on the channel. Just 3 episodes remain as we head in to the United States Grand Prix from Circuit of the Americas, finally coming off of our first win in F1 2014, and the quest for second in the championship is now very much alive against Fernando Alonso. Hamilton has wrapped up the Drivers' Championship for the 3rd game in a row. Now it's all about, can we get a second win before the season is over? Qualifying underway here from Circuit of the Americas, and you can see immediately we are on the wet compound tire, which quite simply means one thing: we're in for a bit of a rough qualifying effort. We're probably going to qualify, honestly, either dead last or very close to it. As you guys know, in the rain F1 2014, I mean, near impossible, at least for me, to compete with the AI and their capabilities here. So my expectations are extremely low for this qualifying session, and already Vettel has opened up a quite healthy gap to myself, and I know it's just going to continue to increase over the duration of this lap. And yeah, you can see we're just sliding everywhere here. It's so delicate on the throttle, but it does not matter. You have absolutely no grip compared to the AI, and Vettel now long gone down the road, and at this point it's just like, yeah, we're going to be qualifying in the back. Let's just bring it back around and finish this off. Rounding the last couple of corners now, Vettel, or at least whoever's on pole, is already exiting the final turn, heading to the line now, and it's Hamilton on pole position. We are just now coming to the line. I think it's going to be last. Yeah, it is. Dead last here. Way off, over 5 seconds, near 6 seconds off of pole position of Hamilton, who gets pole by a 1/10.5. We knew it was going to be hard as soon as we saw the rain coming down. I'm just hoping it's not raining in the Grand Prix. You guys know it's not good when you see a green or blue stripe on the tires, and we are starting on the intermediates. It is wet. It's 50% chance of rain, so I'm hoping that the rain is going to let up pretty quickly, but I would imagine it's going to be sometime around the halfway point. We saw this last episode, but nonetheless, we're racing here 14 laps from Circuit of the Americas. Not a good situation for us to be in with the rain coming down. Of course, we just talked about it moments ago about how the rain affects us. Hamilton might lose the lead into turn number 1. I'm going to be pretty aggressive here up the inside. Slip one up the inside of Kobayashi. Oh, he's not going to leave the room. I don't even blame him there. That was an aggressive lunge. And instead, we're virtually gaining nothing. We gain 1 spot over Ericsson. Now we'll try to come through here through the middle. And a big stomp on the brakes there from Max Chilton. Follow Gutierrez as well. And maybe we can slip one around the outside of him. But no, he's going to cover it off well. He's side by side with Jules Bianchi now. And we'll go up the inside of Jules Bianchi. Take that position there. And here we go, gaining a few more. 3 wide, briefly around the outside, up the inside now of, I didn't even catch who that was, one of the Toro Rosso drivers, John-Eric Verne, it looks like. Yes, it is, as I nearly lose it and loop it around on the exit of the turn, but up to 14th place. It was not a good qualifying effort, but obviously we make up for it pretty well. But now the question is, can we actually find some pace in these wet conditions? Now I'm expecting no. I'm hoping for a weather report as soon as possible here, and Mark just tells us, or not Mark, but Jeff tells us that the weather will be leaving the area. We're reeling in. Grosjean, Perez goes wide. We'll be able to pass Perez here, hopefully get on that throttle as hard as I could. I was about half throttle that whole time, just patiently waiting for it to grip up. We clear Perez, who backs right out of it now, so up to P13. So we've gone from 22nd to 13th in this opening lap in these wet conditions. I'm pretty happy with that, and like I said, it's going to be difficult now to move our way forward, but obviously conditions are way easier for me than when it was in qualifying. In the pouring rain, it was very wet. Hamilton actually drops down to 3rd on the start here, so that is going to be beneficial to us, assuming a miracle opportunity, and we can 10 minutes within the next 10 minutes. So that's going to be interesting. Can we hang on that long? Can we find some pace and actually go forward within that 10 minutes? Or are we going to kind of get stuck here? Now, in my previous races in the rain, sometimes they start out okay, and then we kind of fade as the race goes on and the tires start to wear. So I'm a little fearful that that is going to be the case here today, as we're all over the back of the Lotus of Roman Grosjean, but obviously not really an opportunity through here to make an overtake now, so we just kind of have to settle in behind him, follow him now through the left-hander, a little bit aggressive on track limits, but cannot get the grip to actually have a chance to make a move here. Here we go now with an opportunity for the overtake. We'll go to the right side of Grosjean, not even having to put the fuel into rich or anything, just let it do its thing. The straight line speed, of course, of this Mercedes, the opposite of what it is currently in real life. It's really good in this game and at this era of F1. So into now 12th position, and 1.6 seconds up the road is the Williams of Valtteri Bottas. So now I think this is kind of where we're going to figure out if we have a car capable of doing anything in these wet conditions, and that is, can we close in on the Williams? All right, in one sector, the gap goes from 1.6 to 1.7, so I think that's your answer right there. It's not going to be easy. DRS, of course, not enabled yet due to the wet conditions. I'm going to try and get a little bit more aggressive here, specifically in the braking zones. I really don't think I can get more aggressive just on throttle. I'm already being as aggressive as I can without losing the rear end. So I'm thinking, you know, the only chance we can actually make up ground here is in the actual entrance of the corners. We are definitely strong through the S's. However, we just, gained 9/10 of a second through there on Bottas. So clearly an opportunity in the S's section, but the rest of the lap is definitely debatable. Now we do have such a strong speed in sector 2 because of that long straightaway. So in reality, it seems like we might have actually an advantage here in the first 2 sectors, and then sector 3 is just all about managing the gap. Right to the back now of Valtteri Bottas. If he leaves the door open, I might try to make a lunge up the inside, and he does leave the door open, so we take it up the inside, leave the room there on the left, but he's going to back out of it. So now through into the position, he's going to try and actually fight back up the inside. I'm going to brake a little bit late there, and that will keep us ahead. So 11th place we go up to now here, as Bottas has already dropped back quite a considerable amount, as it will try to reel in Hulkenberg and get into the points. Here we go through the S's again, and where we're expecting now to just gain heaps of time. That's exactly what's happening. Now we're 8/10 of a second behind Hulkenberg, and it'll come down even further. We'll cut it in another half. There's actually, I nearly lose it right there, so that of course doesn't help. And now we're starting to slip and slide just about everywhere now. So it's that F1 2014 effect that's starting to kick in. Hamilton's not really making any progress either right now. Still runs third, and he's actually got 4th place tucked up right behind him now. So Hamilton certainly not having the easiest day, as our pit window will be open on lap 7, but obviously it's going to come down to hoping we get an update on the rain beforehand, and we can maybe stay out and stretch this run. Rain stopping in 5 minutes, so pit window opens at lap 7. I imagine right in around there is when that rain's going to be stopping. So obviously we're going to be stretching this run no matter what the situation is, to try and get to the point where we can just switch over to the dry tires. Hulkenberg misses the apex a little bit right there. That's going to allow me to be right up on him now, but obviously still not in position to make a move here. And then I'm going to just try to ease on that throttle, be aggressive, stick with Hulkenberg. Can't quite do it, so we're going to have to focus at the end of that long straightaway to get him. Here's the run on Hulkenberg. He goes defensive. Hamilton's down to 4th. Hamilton's been overtaken, so not an easy race, like I said, for Lewis, and he's just not going in the right direction. Now it's a 4-car breakaway up there, so realistically right now we're on track to maybe go for 5th place here, as we got this whole train of cars directly in front of us. So I'm pretty happy, honestly, with the pace that we have managed to find in this wet conditions. So previously we have really struggled, but it feels like, we're clearly struggling today, but it just seems like there's a little bit more pace than we usually have as we continue to get used to this game, as we are of course in the closing few episodes at this point. Not going to be close enough to make a move here into the corner on Kvyat, but he slows up quite early actually, so hold on. We'll try and go around the outside. I'm there. He doesn't quite give us the room I was hoping we would get, but we continue up the inside here in the right-hander, trying to leave him the room still. And now here comes, who was that? Hulkenberg slipping up the inside as well. So we moved through into 9th place, and now we can focus in on Kimi Räikkönen, who runs in the 8th position. Pit window opening next lap for, well, just about everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see, will that rain stop? Is everyone going to elect to hang on until the rain stops before they come into the pits? There's going to be a lot of questions here that need to be answered. So the rain has stopped. It's just significantly let out. There's a couple sprinkles here and there, but yeah, it's pretty well stopped. I got the feel in Rich trying to close in on Räikkönen exactly like this, and then I'm just going to try and send one up the inside into the braking zone, and job done. I did not want to do that. I'm sorry, Kimi. I kind of ran him wide right there. Not the way I like to race, but I just kind of washed out on the exit there. So they're telling me to pit. Obviously, we're not going to do that unless there's an idea to come in for the dry tire, but it's definitely a little bit too wet, I think, personally, to go on to that, dry tire at this point in time. So we're just going to stick it out here for another lap or two, but it's clearly going to dry up quick, I think. And we got cars pitting here on the end of this lap. Oh boy, I don't know if we're making the right call or not, staying out. Are they going to go onto the dries, or are they going on to another set of inters? That's the big question here now, as we can see a couple cars coming out in front of us. If they're going to be right here, now we're going to be ahead of them. I was hoping we could maybe see what they're putting on. They are going to be right here with us, so if they're on dries, they're probably going to fly right past us, and we're going to find out very quickly that we need to be on a dry compound tire. I think it's definitely time for a set of dries already. Yeah, we should have definitely come in for a set of dries, but I don't know if the cars that pitted already took dries, so we might actually still come out pretty well. But you can see I am slipping and sliding now. Hamilton into the pits now. We are going to be double stacking, of course, this lap. We're coming in for the prime tire, as there's that Red Bull. Still not sure. They're going to stay out, so I'm imagining they put on dries. It has to be. But we'll come in, and yeah, we could have definitely pitted a lap earlier like we saw with the other cars there. But overall, we decided to play it safe and to see what happens. So we come in. The team's already ready for us. Hamilton had, unfortunately for me, enough of a gap. Now, oh, we're going to get held a little bit there. Not what we wanted to see that time. But nonetheless, we'll get back out onto the track and see where we cycle through. Here comes somebody there. That's Felipe Massa, who will put us down to 8th place. And someone's coming up here behind us as well. That is, I believe, Hulkenberg. Yes, it is Hulkenberg. So we're going to be very close into turn 1, but we stay ahead. So now we can focus in on trying to open up the gap. He's on inter still. There's still some drivers on intermediates. That's interesting. So we might still even have drivers in front of us on intermediates as well then. Maybe the Red Bull was, and maybe a few others. So there is still potential to gain a few positions before this race comes to an end. All right, 5 laps to go. The gap to Massa, 5.4 seconds now. The track's totally dry at this point. Sun's out. Crazy how quick things change in terms of the weather conditions here in Circuit of the Americas. We had rain right at the tail end of this Grand Prix last game in F1 2013. But I'm curious to see if we can gain any more on the cars in front. I mean, we're going to find out really through this first sector now. We can really hook up this first sector, but do we have the same advantage that we did? I mean, look at the time we just gained. I'm wondering if they are on inters in front of us, because we shouldn't be gaining 3 seconds nearly in one sector. That's just, I mean, insane. So there's got to be something going on here. Have they decided to go long on these inters? Are they trying to take them to the end? Yeah, I just from here, I think Massa, I can see green stripes on those tires. Here we go into the braking zone, and we're really able to just lunge there. And yeah, sure enough, there is intermediate tire on Felipe Massa's car. That is interesting. And Magnussen as well is on inters. How many other cars out here on this track are on intermediate tires right now? There's another one. That's Jensen Button. So suddenly we're going to propel ourselves into the top 5. What a change of events suddenly here in Circuit of the Americas. I mean, a great change of events, of course, that's favored us. We'll swing around the inside, take that position. Everyone's pitting in front of us, I think. Hamilton's, yes, everyone's pitting. They've all gone into the intermediate compound tire. We're going to round this final turn. We're going to take the lead in Circuit of the Americas. They're now exiting the pit lane, so the gap is going to be what? That's the big question. Here we go. And to the lead over Sebastian Vettel, who's going to be exiting not far behind. And all of a sudden, we are leading for the second Grand Prix in a row with a decent gap on Vettel. Can we somehow steal the win in Circuit of the Americas with 4 laps remaining? Let's see what the gap is to Seb. 7 seconds in 4 laps. There's no way we throw that. I mean, it is me behind the wheel, so it's always possible, but that would have to be a huge choke. And in a massive turn of events, we are in position to win 2 back-to-back races. We didn't have the pace today, that's for sure, but apparently we accidentally got the strategy right. I don't know why. We've seen them stretch it before, and the rain had stopped before the pit stops had occurred, so I'm very surprised that they would pit there for another set of, intermediate tires. It's a bit baffling, to say the least. Vettel exiting the final turn, so now from 7 seconds to what, 5.9, he gained a full second over the course of that lap, but 3 laps to go, a second a lap, we're going to be okay. But the question is, now that he's gotten those tires warmed up, can he maybe close in a bit more? Hamilton 4.2 back, but yeah, Vettel is the only one we really have to have a concern of and a focus on here in these final 3 laps of racing. The gap comes down a little bit more, but not much. 5.9, I think it was the lap before, now 5.3. Vettel does set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, not really concerned about that. So just like that, 2 laps to go, and we have a nice commanding lead on the Red Bull. 1 lap to go, and I played it pretty cautious over the course of the last lap or so, and we got a 4.3 second gap still on Vettel. No need to do anything crazy at this point. It's just about bringing it home. What a turnaround here in F1 2014. Vettel continues to set really quick lap times, but you know, we struggled all season long at points, of course, and then you know, in the course of the last, what I would say 7 or so, 6-7 races and whatnot, we have really just been able to turn the corner, and we've been comfortably driving this car, and we've been battling you know, for podiums and finishing second to Hamilton, but never having the pace for him. Last episode, Russia, we had the confidence, we showed up, and we of course won that race after Hamilton did make a late race charge, you know, taking advantage of the rain conditions. But today, I mean, it's all strategy, and we finally got that first win, and just like that, after all that frustration and trying to make that win happen, we're going to come and do it back-to-back and win 2 episodes in a row. As long as I get this car back around these final few corners, I certainly want to try and throw it away, apparently, as I completely miss the apex, but we're going to be just fine. Here we go then, couple corners to go, round the penultimate turn, down to 4th, let it just roll through there, and then one turn remains as we round that last turn, and we will win in Circuit of the Americas, our second win in F1 2014, and our second win in a row. We will absolutely take that, giving us momentum going into the final couple of rounds. And there we have the finishing order on your screen. Hamilton ends up 3rd. He's gone undefeated for 2 whole races. That's a big deal in the world of Lewis Hamilton this season. Hulkenberg ends up with a DNF, and looking at the standings, 1 point between myself and Alonso with 2 races remaining. So it's game on there for second. Vettel, don't count him out yet of the battle as well. And of course in the Constructors, 191 point advantage over Red Bull as they try to hold on a near 30-point lead for second over Ferrari. That's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next episode for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.